here. Lynn, we're going to do some discussions on relationshiping. And I asked Lynn if she would be a part of this and join me. And she readily agreed. And so my opening is to say how happy I am that Lynn is here. She's going through a very rough patch, health-wise. And I'm just glad that she's here.
Well, since we're going to be talking about relationships, we might mention that our relationship is 58 years old.
Wow!
Did you remember?
Yes.
One of the reasons we decided to talk about relationships is because it's something we're doing all of our lives. From the moment we're born until we leave the planet, we're doing relationships. Also, remembering from years when I worked with young adults, the biggest question in their mind, young adults are always relationshiping with their parents. That's the most active relationship in their lives. And their question is always, when do my responsibilities to myself, asserting myself as an individual, when do they start and stop? And how do I fix that, or how do I mingle that with my relationship with my parents as far as respect goes? How much respect do I owe them versus how much respect do I owe myself and my individuality? Also, relationship is one of the things that most people ask advice on. When you're talking to someone, you ask advice about relationships. Would you not agree?
Yeah, I mean, all the years that we were serving our various parishes, my goodness, how many times young people came and asked questions regarding their relationship to their parents, but also with their siblings. And in the case of older couples, of course, it was how could they iron out the kinks in their marriages. A lot of people came to you.
Well, let's just focus for a minute on the relationship between adolescents and parents. And where does it begin? Where does your loyalty to yourself and your emerging personality, your emerging individuality, where does that begin when your parents are still parenting you?
Well, I think that what's happened in North American life, we've seen it evolve, Lynn. When we were first working with kids, they still had a lot of respect for their parents and a lot of respect for their grandparents. In fact, how many of them would gather every Sunday after church at their grandmother's house? And my goodness, especially we remember in Montreal, how much were the Sunday dinners at the grandparents' house. But this level of respect, I don't think it really is there anymore.
Why not? Where did it go?
Well, I have a few thoughts on it, and some people might think they're cliches, but our educational system, first of all, is broken down. I remember when I went to school, we had an hour of prayer. Now, it's outlawed if you even mention God in school. Secondly, we have too many latchkey kids. I remember when I was teaching at McGill, how many of my students would tell me they never went home to a home-cooked meal. They would throw something in the microwave, tap their feet on the kitchen floor for those few minutes until their meal was done, and I just know that the families ain't the same.
Well, for now, especially, the issue of privacy comes into it. With young people having their smartphones and their computers, they're free to roam. They're free to roam the internet. They're free to roam. And how much parental control are they supposed to have? How much parental control is fair, and how much is unfair?
I don't think the parents have any control on their kids and their private
No,
stuff.
they don't. They don't have any. But how much? But there should be some kind of control. And I'm just wondering how much control would be fair, and how much privacy you're due.
But I really think these kids all have their own private lives, exclusive of their families and their parents. With the social media being the way it is, I mean, how much these kids can surf pornography, how much can they connect with dating sites. God knows what they're watching on their iPads or computers and their iPhones. Their parents have no idea what these kids are. Do you know there is a lost innocence? I go to people's homes and see little kids already playing with iPads. There's no more innocence because they can see everything. And now, in the schools, they're starting at the youngest ages teaching their kids about different sexual orientations. What do you expect from these kids? I don't know.
Well, they're going to see it if they're not taught it from a moral point of view or from an adult point of view that has some stringence, that has at least some moral connection to it. They're going to learn it and they're going to see it. For example, at what age would you give a smartphone to a young person? At what age? I mean, they're getting them at 9 and 10 years old and younger.
Yep. For the parents, it's these tools are their babysitters. And that is one dimension of the problem. The other thing is, how many of these kids ever go to church? And I mean, how many parents sit down to a meal and say a prayer? How many people sit down with their kids and have a meal together and talk?
That's not an accepted part of the relationships anymore. Families used to have relationships with one another as families. Now it's individuals and I'll eat at 4 o'clock and there'll be something in the fridge for you. Like you said, the latchkey kids. But I'm starting to feel lately that there is more of a trend to go back to the family unit, to the idea of wanting your relationship to be more forthright. Who's that up to? Who's that up to? The parent, or if the parent doesn't do it, how does the child go about something like that?
Sometimes the kids are smarter than the parents.
More often than not.
From what I've seen. I mean, I talk to a lot of young people, and I'm amazed at the ones I do talk to who've developed their own morals. It didn't come from their parents. It came something inside of them. I can't explain it. But we'll stop here on this first session. We'll continue it in the next session.
Okay, sounds good to me.
God bless you all, and thank you for listening.